The galaxy had never known true silence until the plague came. It began on a planet called Zareth 9, home of a proud and ancient race. One day the stars above their sky dimmed and the wind turned cold. Within days every living thing was gone. No war, no fire, just silence. From there the sickness spread like a shadow through the stars. The Vorans, the Talians, the Uric, all vanished. Whole civilizations erased in weeks. Scientists called it the silence because it left no life, no echo, not even bacteria. The Galactic Council could only watch. Nothing stopped it, not shields, not medicine, not gods. When the last survivor of the Uric race sent his final message, he whispered 3 words before dying. It learns faster. Soon telescopes detected a new infection trail. It was heading toward a small blue planet at the edge of the Milky Way. Its name, Earth. The Council sighed. "Another world lost," said Commander Relth, his voice heavy. "Send the observation drones. Record the end of this one too." But something strange happened when the plague reached Earth. It came quietly, hiding in rain, air, and dust. Hospitals filled fast. People coughed blood. Panic spread. The news called it the Red Storm. Nations locked down. Satellites fell silent, and for a moment it seemed Earth would join the dead worlds. Then, the dying stopped. In a small hospital in New Delhi, a doctor noticed something. A patient's cells were fighting back, changing shape faster than the infection could move. Within hours, the plague inside him was gone, destroyed by his own body. More cases followed. Survivors appeared across continents, each one stronger, faster, smarter. The plague wasn't killing humanity. It was evolving them. Far above Earth, Commander Relth stared at his screen. "Impossible," he muttered. The virus was supposed to consume all life, yet here was a species turning death into strength. The Council called for an emergency meeting. "Should we destroy the planet before it spread?" one alien shouted. "No," Relth said softly. "We must learn why they live." On Earth, chaos became unity. Scientists, soldiers, and citizens worked side by side. They didn't surrender. They adapted. For the first time in galactic history, a species was fighting back and winning. The silence had reached Earth, but Earth refused to be silent. And as the stars watched in fear, humanity began to change forever. The first miracle was a single man in New Delhi. The second happened in Brazil. The third in Nigeria. Everywhere, people who were supposed to die lived. Doctors couldn't explain it. The plague infected billions, yet some people's bodies refused to give up. Their blood showed strange changes, new cells, new defenses. It was like their DNA was learning how to fight. At first, scientists thought it was luck, but then the pattern appeared. The plague was strong, but humans were stubborn. They didn't just survive, they adapted. Dr. Hana Lee, a geneticist from South Korea, was the first to say it aloud. "The virus changes, but so do we." Around the world, governments stopped fighting each other and focused on one goal: survival. Labs opened in every city. Robots helped doctors. Artificial intelligence studied every infected cell. Humanity worked as one, because this time, the enemy was invisible. But the plague wasn't giving up. It started to mutate faster, spreading through air and metal. Machines stopped working. Satellites fell from orbit. The night sky glowed red from the burning debris. Still, humans fought back. In an underground base in Iceland, a small group of scientists built the Aegis Project, a system that connected millions of human immune patterns into one global network. Every time one person survived, their DNA data was uploaded and shared instantly. The entire planet was learning together. Commander Relth, watching from his ship above Earth, couldn't believe his eyes. "They're fighting as one organism," he whispered. "That's impossible," said his second officer. "No species can unite like that." "They can," Relth said, "because they're human." On Earth, people still suffered. Families were lost, cities empty. But for every death, hundreds rose stronger. Soldiers began to return to duty even after infection. Their eyes glowed faintly, a sign the body had fully adapted. News spread. We are not dying. We are changing. The plague, for the first time, began to fail. Infected areas started to heal. Trees grew back faster. Animals returned. Even the oceans cleared. The same thing that once destroyed life was now making it stronger. But with evolution came danger. Some survivors were not the same anymore. Their strength increased beyond human limits. Their senses sharpened. Some could even sense the virus in the air before it appeared. Scientists called them Phase 2 humans. Governments grew afraid. What if they are too strong? One general asked. They're the future, Dr. Hanna replied. You cannot fear evolution. Far away in the black void of space, alien ships gathered in silence. The Galactic Council feared Earth. Every world the plague touched had died, yet this one had turned it into power. Humans are rewriting the plague, Relth reported. It's no longer killing them, it's obeying them. The room went cold. No one spoke. Finally, the elder of the council said, if the plague listens to them, then who will command it next? On Earth, the final stage of the Aegis project activated. A blinding light filled the sky as human DNA reached perfect synchronization. The virus was now part of them, and under their control. For the first time in history, humanity didn't just survive extinction. They conquered it, but deep inside the virus something else was awake. Something learning, watching, waiting, and it whispered in the dark. If they can change, so can I. Darkness filled the hallway. Only the soft red glow of the emergency lights painted the walls. Ryan froze, every sense alert. He could hear footsteps, 3 of them, echoing closer. There he is, Zarn's voice growled. Ryan turned slowly. Zarn and his 2 friends stepped from the shadows. Their scaled faces gleamed under the red light. Ryan clenched his fists but didn't move. I told you after school, Zarn hissed. You embarrassed me in front of everyone. Ryan kept his voice calm. You embarrassed yourself. That one line made Zarn's tail whip the floor. He charged forward, pushing Ryan hard against the wall. Pain shot through Ryan's shoulder, but he didn't yell. He had been in fights before. Back on Earth, he knew one thing. Fear made bullies stronger. He stayed still, silent, unbroken. Zarn's friend kicked Ryan's bag across the floor. Look at the brave human now, he sneered. Ryan met Zarn's eyes. If this makes you feel big, then go ahead. Zarn blinked, surprised. He wanted to see fear, but Ryan gave him none. That made him angrier. You don't belong here, Zarn spat. Humans should stay on their dying planet. Ryan smirked slightly. Then why are you so afraid of one? For a second, silence. Then Zarn punched him in the stomach. Ryan gasped, falling to his knees. Pain exploded through him, but still he didn't fight back. Zarn raised his hand again, claws ready. And suddenly a sharp blue light flashed between them. Stop, a voice cried. Lyra stood at the end of the hallway, her hands glowing faintly. Her silver eyes burned brighter than ever. Leave him alone, she said. Zarn laughed. You again? Maybe you want to join him? Lyra didn't answer. Instead, the glow around her hands spread. A soft wave of energy pulsed through the air. The lights flickered back on for a second. Ryan felt the floor tremble slightly under him. Zarn stepped back, uncertain. What are you doing? Lyra's voice was quiet but strong. Protecting my friend. That word, friend, hit Ryan harder than the punch had. He struggled to stand, leaning against the wall. Lyra's energy faded, but it was enough to make the bullies hesitate. The sound of metal boots echoed down the hall. A security drone was approaching. Zarn hissed in frustration. This isn't over, he snapped, backing away. Enjoy your victory, human. You won't have many. He and his friends disappeared into the shadows just before the drone turned the corner. Lyra rushed to Ryan. You're hurt, she said, helping him sit. Ryan winced but smiled weakly. I've had worse. You okay? She nodded quickly. I was scared they'd... I'm fine, Ryan interrupted softly. You showed up just in time. They sat there in silence for a few seconds. Only the hum of the ship filled the air. Finally, Lyra spoke. "You shouldn't have done that. He could have really hurt you." Ryan chuckled. "He tried." Lyra looked down. "You don't understand. Draviks don't forgive. He'll come again." Ryan turned his head toward the window, watching the stars beyond the glass. "Then I'll be ready next time." Lyra studied him, this strange human who stood up for her when no one else would. She didn't understand him yet, but something about him reminded her of stories her grandmother used to tell, stories about humans who had once helped her people long ago. She hesitated before saying, "Ryan, there's something you should know about me." He looked back at her, confused. "What do you mean?" She opened her mouth to answer, but just then 2 teachers arrived, followed by a security drone. They saw Ryan on the floor, bruised and bleeding. One of them frowned. "Fighting again, human, you're coming with us." Ryan tried to explain, but the teachers didn't listen. Lyra's protest was ignored too. As they led him away, Ryan looked back at her and smiled faintly. "Don't worry, I'll be fine." But Lyra didn't smile. She knew the truth. In this school, justice didn't come easy. She watched him disappear down the hall and whispered to herself, "You shouldn't have saved me. Now they'll come for you." The hallway lights dimmed again, and the camera panned out to the endless stars beyond the academy windows, cold, silent, and watching. The room was quiet after the fight. Shattered glass glittered on the floor like small stars. Ryan sat on the edge of a metal table, pressing a bandage to his arm. Lyra stood near the window, watching the galaxy outside. Her hand still trembled from the power she had used. Neither spoke for a while. The hum of the ship filled the silence. Finally, Ryan said, "That thing you did back there. What was it?" Lyra didn't answer right away. Her eyes were still glowing faintly silver. "You weren't supposed to see that," she whispered. Ryan tilted his head. "See what? You saving me?" She turned to him slowly. "No human has seen a Valorian use power in over 100 years. We were forbidden to show it." Ryan frowned. "Forbidden? Why?" Lyra looked down at her hands. "Because the last time my people used this power, a war started. Millions died. The Valorians were blamed, and we were almost destroyed." Ryan's eyes softened. "You mean your race was hunted?" She nodded. "The Draviks led that war. They said we were dangerous, so my people hid. We promised never to fight again." Ryan crossed his arms. "And you broke that promise to save me." Lyra's voice was quiet. "I didn't think, I just couldn't let them hurt you." Ryan smiled faintly. "Then I'd say that's a good reason to break a rule." She looked at him confused. "You don't understand. If the Academy reports this, they'll send me away. Maybe worse. If anyone finds out what I am, they'll come for me." Ryan thought for a moment, then stood up. "Then no one will find out." Lyra blinked. "What do you mean?" He smiled. "I'll keep your secret. I owe you that much." Her eyes widened slightly. "You'd risk that for me?" "Of course," Ryan said. "You saved my life. That makes us even." For a moment she almost smiled. Then her face turned serious again. "No, Ryan, we're not even. The danger is bigger than you think." Ryan frowned. "What danger?" Lyra hesitated, then whispered, "Zarnia's father, Counselor Dravik, was one of the commanders who destroyed my home planet. If Zarn tells him about me, he'll send soldiers, not just for me, but for any Valorian left alive." Ryan went silent. The reality hit him hard. This wasn't just bullying anymore. It was something. The room was quiet after the fight. Shattered glass glittered on the floor like small stars. Ryan sat on the edge of a metal table, pressing a bandage to his arm. Lyra stood near the window, watching the galaxy outside. Her hands still trembled from the power she had used. Neither spoke for a while. The hum of the ship filled the silence. Finally, Ryan said, "That thing you did back there, what was it?" Lyra didn't answer right away. Her eyes were still glowing faintly silver. "You weren't supposed to see that," she whispered. Ryan tilted his head. See what? You saving me? She turned to him slowly. No human has seen a Valorian use power in over 100 years. We were forbidden to show it. Ryan frowned. Forbidden? Why? Lyra looked down at her hands. Because the last time my people used this power, a war started. Millions died. The Valorians were blamed, and we were almost destroyed. Ryan's eyes softened. You mean your race was hunted? She nodded. The Draviks led that war. They said we were dangerous. So my people hid. We promised never to fight again. Ryan crossed his arms. And you broke that promise to save me. Lyra's voice was quiet. I didn't think, I just couldn't let them hurt you. Ryan smiled faintly. Then I'd say that's a good reason to break a rule. She looked at him, confused. You don't understand. If the Academy reports this, they'll send me away. Maybe worse. If anyone finds out what I am, they'll come for me. Ryan thought for a moment, then stood up. Then no one will find out. Lyra blinked. What do you mean? He smiled. I'll keep your secret. I owe you that much. Her eyes widened slightly. You'd risk that for me? Of course, Ryan said. You saved my life. That makes us even. For a moment, she almost smiled. Then her face turned serious again. No, Ryan. We're not even. The danger is bigger than you think. Ryan frowned. What danger? Lyra hesitated, then whispered. Zarna's father, Counselor Dravik, was one of the commanders who destroyed my home planet. If Zarn tells him about me, he'll send soldiers. Not just for me, but for any Valorian left alive. Ryan went silent. The reality hit him hard. This wasn't just bullying anymore. It was something bigger. Lyra continued softly. There's something else too. My grandmother gave me this. She reached into her pocket and pulled out a small glowing crystal, blue and warm like a heartbeat. It's called a memory core. It holds our history, our language, and something else, something powerful. Ryan stared at it. What kind of power? I don't know, Lyra admitted, only that my people died to protect it. And now, it's the reason I can't go home. Ryan looked at the crystal, then at her. Then we'll protect it. Together. Lyra shook her head quickly. No, you don't understand. If they find out you're helping me, they'll take you too. Ryan gave a small, fearless smile. Let them try. She stared at him, speechless. Humans were strange, stubborn and reckless, but something in Ryan's eyes made her believe he meant every word. The door suddenly beeped. Both turned. A message flashed on Ryan's wrist screen. Report to Headmaster's office. Immediately. Lyra stepped back, fear in her eyes. They know, she whispered. Ryan looked at the screen, then back at her. Maybe, but I'm not running. He looked at the crystal again and added quietly, whatever this thing is, we'll figure it out before they do. Lyra nodded slowly. Then we move fast. Tonight. Ryan smiled slightly. Guess we're both breaking rules now. Outside the window, the stars drifted past, calm and endless, while deep inside the ship, unseen eyes watched their every move. Far beyond the moon's shadow, hidden among the stars, a dozen alien ships floated in silence. They watched Earth like hunters watching a sleeping beast. Commander Relth stood before the main holoscreen. The planet glowed blue and peaceful, but he knew better. That world should have been silent, he said softly. Yet it sings louder every day. The Alien Council had ordered him to observe, not interfere. But the reports terrified everyone. The virus had stopped killing. Now, it obeyed the humans. Commander, said his science officer, the signal is spreading across the galaxy. It's like a heartbeat. Relth frowned. Earth's heartbeat. Down below, on Earth, Dr. Hana Lee continued her research. The number of awakened humans grew every week. Some could sense electromagnetic fields, others could heal wounds in seconds. A few could even communicate through thoughts. But Hana was worried. The virus had given them gifts, yet no one truly understood its mind. In her private notes she wrote, "Humanity didn't cure the plague. They bonded with it. The virus is now a living partner, and it is still learning." One evening, as Hana studied Elias's blood samples, alarms began to ring through the base. "Unidentified object entering atmosphere," shouted a guard. She rushed to the control room. On the monitor, a dark shape descended through the clouds. Smooth, metallic, silent. It wasn't a meteor. It was an alien ship. High above, Commander Relth's voice echoed inside his vessel. "Prepare the observation team. We're going down." They had one goal, to capture a living human and understand how this species defied death itself. The alien ship landed quietly in the Siberian forest, hidden under fog and snow. From it stepped tall, silver-skinned beings with glassy black eyes. Their armor shimmered like liquid. They moved like shadows, silent, efficient. Using cloaking devices, they crossed villages unnoticed. Their sensors led them to a nearby survivor camp, where people lived in tents, rebuilding what the plague had destroyed. Elias was there, helping to carry supplies. He felt something, a strange vibration in the air. "Dr. Hana," he whispered through his comlink. "Something is coming. Not human." Before Hana could reply, a flash of light blinded everyone. In seconds, two figures disappeared, Elias and another survivor. The aliens had captured their samples. Inside the alien ship, Elias slowly opened his eyes. Cold metal walls surrounded him. Strange symbols glowed faintly. He felt weak, restrained by energy bands. Commander Relth entered the room, studying him with curiosity. "You are human," Relth said, his voice deep and calm. Elias didn't answer. He stared directly into the alien's eyes, unafraid. Relth raised a device and scanned him. "Fascinating. Your cells are not biological anymore. They are something new." Elias spoke quietly. "You shouldn't have come here." Relth tilted his head. "Why?" "Because it's inside me," Elias said. "And now, it's inside you." Before Relth could react, his scanner beeped violently. The virus, or whatever it had become, was already spreading through the ship's systems. Lights flickered. Walls pulsed like veins. The alien crew panicked. "Commander, the containment field is failing." Relth stared at the human, realization dawning in his eyes. He wasn't infected. He is the infection. Far below, Hana received a broken transmission from space. "They took him. But it's spreading." Then silence. She looked up at the stars, whispering, "What have we done?" The plague had once destroyed galaxies. Now, it had a new body, and it was learning to travel.